हेलो फ्रेंड्स, मैं खुशाल आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूं हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल एयर स्टडी पे। आज की हमारी डिक्टेशन है कैलाश चंद्रा वॉल्यूम 16 से एक्सरसाइज नंबर 351। गेट रेडी, स्टार्ट। I shall speak only for another 7 or 8 minutes. I had intended to speak both about the recruitment to the higher services and the policy of the government with regard to the purchase of the products of the cottage and small scale industries, but I wish to drop the latter subject and confine my attention only to the recruitment to the higher ranks of the defense and civil services. Sir, it is a matter of profound concern to us that the material that we are obtaining for our defense and civil services is not of a very satisfactory character. Having a little more knowledge of the efficiency of the students who try to enter the NDA, the National Defense Academy, I think I can say with some confidence that we have no reason to be proud of the material that we are obtaining for our National Defense Academy. Indeed, persons competent to speak on this subject have said to me from time to time that they are afraid that the standard has deteriorated in the last few years. Sir, this is another matter which ought to receive the earnest attention of the government. What I have said about the defense services is, I think, also true to the civil services. I know that our country is poor and that if our young people want high salaries and allowances that men in their positions are getting in other countries, we cannot gratify their desire. We have to think not merely of the poverty of the country but of the resources that are needed at the present time to develop it as quickly as possible. But we ought to bear in mind that in other countries, for example in England, care has been taken to create conditions which will attract the best material to the country. In England, the scales of salaries and allowances have been revised twice during the last 6 or 7 years. I think they were revised in 1980 and they have again been revised this year. Anyone who knows these scales in force at the present time is aware of the great difference between our scales of salaries and pensions and the British scales of salaries and pensions. To mention only one matter, a captain gets a pension of 1000 and in addition a gratuity of 2000. England is a much poorer country today than it was, but it is finding itself compelled to revise the scales of salaries and allowances, but it cannot afford to allow its army or even its administrative services to decline in efficiency. I understand that some time ago, when the scales of salaries and allowances for the defense services were revised, the conditions of service in the higher civil services were also revised, but I don't know how far this revision went and to which services this applied. But the moral of all this is clear. There is need for an inquiry into this matter. We should find out what it is that is holding young men of high caliber back from joining our highest services. Do they want a higher salary? Do they want better allowances? Do they want better education for their children? Or is it anything else? Is it the comparatively young age at which officers of the defense services retire that deters them from joining the defense services? Or is our system of education such as to prevent the country from having young men and the stamp that we require at the present time? In our National Defense Academy, there are 800 or 900 cadets. I have tried to find out how many of these cadets were sons of officers. I do not know whether the information that I have obtained is correct or not, but I understand that they can be counted on the fingers of one hand. I am not at all sorry if there are sons of JCOs and other ranks in the National Defense Academy or sons of people belonging to humble situations in life who have been able to pass the test laid down for admission to the academy. Indeed, it is a matter of pleasure to me to see that young men from all walks of life can now find it possible to join the academy, but I cannot lightly brush aside the fact that the officers of the army supply only a few young men to our defense services. I do not know whether the government have made any inquiry into this matter, but I understand that either the government or the chief of the army staff has had this matter investigated. If so, I think it will be of great advantage if a copy of the report that may have been submitted to the government or to the chief of the army staff is placed in the library of the house or is at least supplied to all those members who are interested in the efficiency and proper development of the defense services. Thanks for watching this video.